All right, why is Jeb Bush smiling? Let's talk politics for a moment and what you wrote about with Mike Huckabee's resignation from Fox News from his weekend show because he's now signaling an exploratory run for president. Of course, you right off the bat call that out, that whole exploratory thing. That's a little bit of a sham, isn't it?
Yeah, there is no such thing as I keep meaning to look it up, but I don't think anybody has announced an exploratory committee and then decided not to run for president, right? It is a dance of the seven veils. You just get to keep saying, I'm thinking about it, so you get more press.
Right. So Mike Huckabee wants to run for president. All right. So what's that do to Jeb Bush?
Okay. So there are two reasons why I think this is good news for Jeb Bush. First of all, the more divided the so-called right-wing side of the GOP primary field is, the better it is for someone like Jeb because it gives him more running room. Now, there are perfectly good ideological arguments to say that Huckabee is in fact not that right-wing when it comes to public policy, but he is as a cultural matter. You know, he's going to soak up a lot of evangelical votes, or he has the potential to, and that is bad for people like Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Bobby Jindal, you can go down the list, Ben Carson, Rick Perry, people who need those kinds of votes to break away and be the conservative standard bearer. The second reason, and this is pure conspiracy theory, I could be 100% wrong, but the second reason why I think this is probably good news for Jeb is I think Huckabee has it in him to simply be a blocking tackle for Jeb Bush.
Right.
That he can sort of, he can be the way the Irish barbarians were for the Old English king.
You and the Irish today. I like this.
Incredibly useful on unleashing on your enemies.
Right.
And Jeb can unleash, much the way, in a way, Huckabee worked that way for Mitt Romney.
Right.
In 2008, there was this. He could be the guy who is the de facto hatchet man, who doesn't necessarily defend Jeb, but he goes after the biggest threats to Jeb, and by doing that, gives Jeb the breathing room. And maybe Huckabee has it in him that he wants to be Jeb's vice president or chamber, or commerce secretary or something like that. I don't know, but I just get the sense that he is not going to frontally assault Jeb. If he does, that is Huckabee's one. He's got only one superpower, and that is he can decide to take out any other candidate he wants to take out. If he focuses all his fire on Jeb, I think it's really bad news for Jeb, but I don't think he's going to do that. If he focuses all his fire on Ted Cruz or Rick Perry, that's bad news for those guys. I don't think he can get elected president, but he can take down almost anybody with him.